It never starts with chaos. It starts with silence, with a child noticing something is wrong long before anyone explains it. You're 7, maybe younger, watching an adult unravel, and without language or permission, your nervous system makes a decision that will follow you for life. Someone has to hold this together. That's the moment childhood quietly ends. You stop asking for help. You start paying attention to moods, tones, pauses. You learn when to speak and when to disappear. The fear isn't dramatic, it's constant low level, shaping every choice. No one tells you change, they just benefit from it. This isn't maturity, it's survival. Once a child learns that being needed is safer than being protected, there's no going back without consequences. The world rewards a child who grew up too fast. And that's where the damage deepens. You're so mature, they say, so strong, so responsible. Each compliment feels like proof that disappearing was the right choice. Praise becomes a trap because it replaces care. No one asks how you're coping, only how you're performing. If being strong earns love, what happens if you fall apart? So you don't. You smile, adapt, achieve. You become valuable, not vulnerable. Children don't need applause, they need safety. When approval replaces protection, the child learns a terrifying equation. My worth depends on what I carry. Once that belief locks in, letting go feels like risking everything. When a child is forced to emotionally support adults, psychology calls it parentification. But the label matters less than the impact. A developing brain is not built to regulate other people's emotions, yet it adapts anyway. The result is hypervigilance, a constant scanning for danger, shifts, tension. Your nervous system never fully powers down. Love stops feeling safe and starts feeling conditional. The brain learns faster under fear, so these patterns hardwire. You learn that your needs are optional and other people's emotions are emergencies. The truth is unsettling. When survival shapes development, peace later feels unfamiliar. Once your brain equates calm with risk, rest doesn't feel like relief. It feels like exposure. At some point, the child doesn't just adapt, they vanish. Not physically, but emotionally. You stop expressing needs because they feel dangerous. You learn to read rooms before reading yourself. You become agreeable, helpful, invisible in your own story. When a child's emotions create instability, silence becomes safety. So you perform instead of feel, you manage instead of need. And the most damaging part? It works. Conflict reduces. Adults cope better. The child is praised. But inside, something goes quiet. You don't lose your inner child. You bury them. And buried parts don't disappear. They wait. They shape decades of choices from the shadows. Over time, the survival strategy turns into an identity. You're the reliable one, the calm one, the strong one. You wear the mask so consistently that even you forget it's a mask. Fear lives underneath it. If this drops, will anyone stay? So you keep performing. You become the helper, the achiever, the emotionally intelligent one who never asks for anything. The most dangerous part is that the mask feels permanent. The inner child doesn't scream anymore, they whisper. And because you're functioning, no one notices the ache. But functioning isn't healing, it's endurance. And endurance has a cost that doesn't show up until the mask finally cracks. The patterns learned as a child don't vanish. They evolve. Hyperindependence becomes a badge of honor. Joy feels foreign. Rest feels like weakness. You overwork because productivity is the only way you've ever felt safe. Calm rooms trigger suspicion. Soft words spark anxiety. Relationships are a minefield of overfunctioning, caretaking, and self-erasure. When chaos was your baseline, peace feels like a threat, and safety feels earned, never given. Even achievements carry a hollow echo. You're successful, but your nervous system still waits for disaster. Without understanding your own survival blueprint, you continue performing these patterns, unknowingly sacrificing softness for strength. Children will abandon pieces of themselves to secure attachment. When safety is absent, the choice isn't conscious. It's instinct. You bury authenticity to belong, smile when afraid, comply when exhausted. Fear drives this logic. Connection matters more than comfort. This survival strategy, once life-saving, now imprisons adults who overgive, people please, or refuse help. Emotional self-abandonment becomes a habit. The child never wanted to disappear. They wanted love. But learned survival required submission, and that whisper of the inner child remains. Why didn't anyone protect me? Until you confront it, your adult life will always revolve around earning safety that should have been unconditional. You perform flawlessly on the outside, but inside, the child waits, neglected and unspoken. High-functioning adults with childhood survival trauma overachieve, overgive, overexplain, hoping someone will notice the cracks. No one does, not because they're cruel, but because you learn to hide your needs so well. You apologize for feelings, flinch at compliments, and measure worth in utility, not love. This isn't weakness. It's a survival blueprint. But the tragedy is obvious. Your competence masked grief. The inner child's cries are silent, yet they shape every relationship, every boundary, every moment of rest you deny yourself. Until you acknowledge them, the past dictates your present without mercy. You turn out fine. That sentence feels like a victory, but it's a lie that adults repeat to themselves. Minimization is another mask. Believing fine equals healed keeps the inner child locked in survival mode. Your mind gaslights you. Others had it worse. You survived. Stop complaining. Yet beneath the functional exterior, fear, grief, and longing persist. Silence was never your choice. It was your only option. Thinking you're over the past prevents you from ever confronting it. Until you name it, feel it, and witness it, your adult decisions, relationships, and even joy remain filtered through a lens of scarcity and self-denial. Fine is performance. Healing demands honesty, no matter how uncomfortable. Growing up too fast leaves fingerprints on adulthood. Boundaries feel treacherous. Softness feels like vulnerability. Love feels like a debt. You apologize for expressing needs and overfunction to earn affection. Strength learned from survival becomes self-erasure. You overachieve, overgive, and exhaust yourself, confusing endurance for worth. Even calm feels suspicious. Peace feels earned, and joy is alien. Emotional intimacy terrifies because showing fragility once led to chaos. The child you buried controls the adult you are until you reconnect with them, until you stop mistaking survival patterns for identity. Every choice, every relationship, every moment of rest carries a hidden cost. If this is the price of survival, what would life feel like if you finally didn't have to pay it? The child you buried isn't going to be rescued by anyone else. No one will undo what was taken. No one will demand you rest or tell you it's safe to feel. Fear creeps in, because if you don't act, nothing changes. The responsibility for comfort, validation, and safety falls entirely on you. But this isn't blame, it's empowerment. You are the one who must hold the hand of the child you left behind. You are the one who must speak the words they never heard. You didn't deserve that. You were just a child. It's safe now. The inner child doesn't ask for fixing. They ask to be seen. Seeing them is where real healing begins. Healing demands facing what you avoided for years. The rage, the sorrow, the unmet needs. Shadow work isn't neat. It's brutal, because it asks you to finally feel the grief you were never allowed to. Crying for lost birthdays, mourning stolen innocence, sitting with the fear and rage. That's the work. Repressed emotions aren't obstacles. They're maps showing where you never got to be a child. Until you sit with this pain, it will continue to shape every choice, every relationship, every moment you deny yourself joy. Feeling it is the only way forward. You can't change the past, but you can reshape the present. Boundaries, self-care, receiving help, resting, choosing softness. These are radical acts for someone who learned to survive by disappearing. Patterns ingrained in childhood are strong, but not unbreakable. You learn to give without erasing yourself, to love without overfunctioning, to rest without guilt. Each small act is a negotiation with your inner child, a message. You are safe. You are enough. You are seen. The patterns that once saved you now limit you, but every conscious choice chips away at their control. Survival was necessary, but thriving is optional, and it's waiting for the first act of courage to begin. This is where you step into wholeness. You never got a childhood, but the future is yours to write. Softness, rest, honesty, and play are not luxuries. They are reclamation. Let the child who was forced to grow up too fast cry, laugh, play, and be seen. Let them guide you to boundaries, joy, and self-compassion. Every moment you honor them rewires decades of survival. Growing up the right way isn't about performance or pressure. It's about truth. You don't need to be strong for the world. You need to be true to yourself. The buried child steps forward, and for the first time, you get to grow not through fear, not through obligation, but through authenticity. Your stolen past no longer defines your future. You do.